I don't know if that's going to change things when it comes to lending rates and things like that. But how much, and I don't even know if this is a question, but how much did house values go up in 2024? Because they're never going down, are they?
Yeah, no, they never really go down, but you have some years that you stay flat. So during 2023, actually, it was a pretty slow year for appreciation.
Okay.
Appreciation means values going up.
We are back, and I can hear everything thanks to Paul, the producer. And here he is. Seems like forever, realty expert John Brodeen in the studio.
I think I say hey every time.
I don't know. Maybe you do. That's kind of your thing, huh?
It's become my thing.
It's become your thing.
Yeah.
It's been forever since I've talked to you. We had how many holidays since then and all of that? But
yeah, Christmas, New Year's. I talked to you I think the week before that.
Right. So how'd your Christmas and how'd your New Year's go?
It was great. Yeah.
Good.
It's kind of nice. You get a little bit of a break with having so many people around to help entertain the kids. It's kind of nice. It was a lot of fun.
I did see, I don't know if it was your official family holiday picture online, but you got a pretty cute looking family.
Yeah, I realized that my, the cover photo on Facebook, I realized my cover photo was from like 5 years ago. So
okay, yep.
I decided I needed to update that. So
sure.
Yeah, I think that might be it was one of the photos. We used one of those for our holiday card.
Sure.
So
you look at my cover photo. It's a picture of me holding a big catfish, and the catfish is bigger than I am. So, or at least the picture looks that way. So
if I ever
I'm gonna leave it that way.
I would change it too.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take you out this summer. How's that?
Deal.
All right. We're into 2025 now. Things change. I mean, we got a new president coming in, a new old president coming in. I don't know if that's going to change things when it comes to lending rates and things like that. But how much, and I don't even know if this is a question, but how much did house values go up in 2024? Because they're never going down, are they?
Yeah, no, they never really go down, but you have some years that you stay flat. So during 2023, actually, it was a pretty slow year for appreciation.
Okay.
Appreciation means values going up.
Okay.
Like we saw the average sale price went up to $288,000, which was a little over 3% increase, but the median sale price actually went down a little bit, just a fraction of a percent, but tiny bit. So it stayed real flat. The price per square foot, average price per square foot sold, went up by just a little under 2%. So a pretty small amount of appreciation happened in 2023, but 2024 was a pretty different story. Average sale price went up from 288 to 320. It went up by like 11.32%. The median sale price went up by 11.5% from $259,900 to $289,900. And then I always like checking the average price per square foot because you want to make sure that the median and the average didn't go up just because a lot of larger homes sold that year. Because if you just happen to have a year with a lot of larger homes sold, your median and average will go up, but values really haven't risen because it's not like smaller homes are all of a sudden selling for more.
Sure.
So but the average price per square foot did go up, went up by 7.51% from $132 a square foot to $142 a square foot.
Wow.
So pretty good increases all around, especially considering where we were at last year. Last year was kind of the first full year with high interest rates. They began rising in 2022. 2023, we had the entire year with high interest rates, and then pretty much 2024, aside from a couple months where it got below 6, pretty high interest rates through all of 2024 as well. So, one of the big changes from 2022 to 2023 is far fewer homes sold. In 2023, only 611 homes sold. So that was down from like 750 in 2022, which that was an 18% drop last year. It went up a little bit. It went up from 611 homes sold to 631 homes sold. So still low activity, but a little bit better than last year, not much. Still very low inventory, which is the reason for the prices rising.
Okay, and now you talk about, from 2023 to 2024, from about $288,000 average to $320,000 average for a home. You talk about inflation, cost of living, all of those things. They're never going down.
Yeah.
The house sales are less or whatever, but does that make sense then?
Yeah.
Because, the house prices are going up, but things aren't going up to help offset the difference, if you will.
Yeah. So, everything's getting more expensive.
Right.
if I had to guess in 2024, I'm guessing like Grand Forks real estate probably outperformed inflation.
Okay.
Because I know in 2023, inflation was, I'm pretty sure inflation was worse in 2023
Okay.
than it was in 2024. And we had a higher rise in our sale prices here in Grand Forks. So it is good for homeowners because they're benefiting from that, the market going up as far as housing. With other consumable goods going up, that's kind of, that affects everybody. It kind of hurts everybody if it's going up by way more than it should.
Okay.
But, inflation helps people who have assets and it hurts people who don't have assets.
Right.
You see people get a lot wealthier people get a lot wealthier when there's high inflation, and the middle class and poor people do far worse during periods of high inflation, which sucks. It's kind of like a hidden tax on the middle class.
Now, does that hurt the potential first-time home buyer, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it does. Anytime home prices are going up, what's the saying? The best time to buy a house was 10 years ago, and the second best time is right now. So, I mean, every year that goes by, occasionally, throughout history, you do have a year or a series of years where home values drop. I don't see that happening anytime soon. People still try to say we're in a housing bubble. The reason we're not in a housing bubble, in my opinion, is we have very low inventory. When we hit a housing bubble in 2008, you had a massive influx of inventory hitting the market, meaning way more homes for sale than there were people buying homes. Right now, we have the opposite situation. What are potential what caused all those homes to hit the market in 2007, 2008? It was all of the foreclosures because they were giving out bad loans. People couldn't afford the houses. The banks were taking them back. The banks had to list the places for sale. People were trying to sell their homes in order to avoid foreclosure. There was tons of other listings on the market. They couldn't sell them. Values were plummeting, right? Well, right now, if anything, there's negative incentives to selling your house and trying to get out of it, right?
Okay.
Because people are locked in at low interest rates. Like
Sure.
I think the average homeowner has like a sub 4% interest
Oh, wow.
rate right now
Okay,
in America,
yeah.
right? Because if you didn't, almost everybody refinanced.
Well, yeah, you'd
Even if they bought
been
well
foolish
before.
not
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
right.
So almost everybody who owned a home refinanced. The only people who have higher interest rates are the ones who bought in the last, 2 years?
Right.
So all those people are incentivized to stay in their home because even if they were to sell their home and buy another one for the exact same price, their payment's going up quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
So they're incentivized is to keep their houses off the market. They're not building homes at an extraordinary rate. You don't have people facing foreclosure. You have more equity held by American homeowners than ever before in history. You have since the adjustments they made after the housing crisis of 2007, back then they were doing like stated income loans where basically they weren't verifying your proof of income. So you go in there and you say, hey, I'm a school teacher and I make $3 million a year. I'd like to buy a $1.5 million house. Sure, okay, just write down how much you make right here and we'll do the loan. So it was like people were buying homes that they couldn't afford. Right now, it's the opposite. It's very hard to get, you have to really be qualified in order to buy a home. They check your, they check your tax returns, pay stubs, verify every single thing about you. Yeah, exactly. They are very thorough with their underwriting process.
Well, you have to be
as a result of that. Yep.
Sure.
So for that reason, you've got the people who own homes are more well qualified for the homes that they've been in. The years of appreciation means that they have a ton of equity, so that they're never going to be forced into foreclosure, because foreclosure is when you owe more than what the house is worth. And then, of course, the bank takes the home back, and then the bank's going to sell the home. Well, that's not happening anytime soon while people are sitting on a ton of equity. Because if you have a ton of equity and you lose your job and you can't afford your payment anymore, your house has gone up 15% since you bought it a few years ago. Well, you're just going to sell the house. I mean, you could even sell it for less than it's worth, and you're still going to be getting a check at closing.
Yeah.
So
now, are there times for realty experts like you? I mean, interest rates, inflation, cost of living, all whatever you need to throw in there. There's got to be up times and down times for you realty experts too.
Yeah.
And when we look ahead, okay, 2024 is in the books now. When we look ahead to 2025, are there predictions that John Brodeen can make?
I'm not as much of an expert as some people out there, but I will listen to some expert opinions, particularly regarding interest rates. Like, I want to see what the experts think is going to happen with interest rates during 2025. Most people think it's going to be probably later in the year, and then there's going to be, you can expect mortgage rates to come down some, but I don't think it's going to be super dramatic. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw kind of a similar year. People are getting more used to the interest rates now.
Yep.
So, you might see some people coming off the sideline, and I wouldn't be surprised if the number of homes sold is even higher than it was this year, because maybe right away back in 2023 when those rates were really high, people were like, "Oh, heck no, I'm not buying a house."
Yeah.
But now they've gone through a few years where it's ballpark similar rates, and they're like, "Well, I should get in when I can get in."
Yeah, and you can claim what you want about the interest rates, but if you're as old as I am, I remember 1981. This is nothing compared to what they were back then.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, it's going from historically low interest rates to not historically high interest rates, but over the past 20 years, I guess probably historically high interest rates in the short term. That's a shock for people, and you definitely felt that shock with the number of people buying homes. But what's saving our market and stopping values from dropping due to fewer buyers being in the market is so few listings on the market, and that's due to that lock-in effect. So I would probably expect a slightly busier year than this year. It's hard to know what's going to happen with prices, if they're going to go up as much as they did this year or if it's not going to go up by as much. I don't see prices dropping unless we get into a buyer's market.
Sure.
Right? That's when supply outnumbers demand.
Okay.
The number of listings is far beyond the number of buyers that are out there.
Yeah.
We would have so far to go before we get into that situation. I don't see that happening personally.
Okay.
Unless something crazy happened. But I think, now this was a few months ago that I read this, but I thought some experts were expecting rates to come down between like 0.5% and 1%.
That's huge, though.
Yeah.
1% is 1%. But
if that happened, that'd be fantastic. But again, I think that was a while back. So that's an ever-changing thing because it's based on the jobs numbers and the inflation numbers and all the stuff that's a little bit over my head. So that's a constantly changing situation.
Okay. Yeah. So inventory, what's it look like for this year?
It's right now. I think there's only 100. There's 100 listings on the market when I checked on January 2nd.
And that's average, not a lot for the Forks.
Very low.
Okay.
Very low.
Okay.
On average, when I checked, so I check at the beginning of every month. When I averaged out the number of listings on the market at the beginning of every month, added them all up, divided by 12, found the average. It was an average of 122 listings on the market throughout the year of 2024.
So we're down a little bit.
Yeah, which is,
Well, actually, it's the 20-some percent.
2023 was the average was 2023 the average was 125 listings on the market when I averaged out all the months. So it's very similar to the previous month. A lot of numbers are pretty similar. Not to the previous month, to the previous year.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. How does somebody get a hold of you, realty expert John Brodeen, if they have any questions about any of this stuff?
Yeah. Cell phone number, 701-213-5428. You can call or text me on there. If you want to learn more about real estate, you like looking on social media, I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check out my platforms on all those different ones. And I make quite a few videos that are designed to help out home buyers and home sellers and answer common questions. So.
Well, we don't have any Wednesday holidays coming up for a while here, so maybe we'll get back into this groove again, huh?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's realty expert John Brodeen, and that is your Wednesday edition of your Berkshire Hathaway Biweekly Podcast.